Hello team, welcome to my session on Coffee with Prab, and today we're going to discuss 10 questions on CCSP Domain 1. My name is Prab Nair. For more information, you can refer my LinkedIn profile. Make sure you should watch this video till the last point because in the last point I have covered some summary points. So let's start. So the first coffee shot. Who evaluates the service provided by the cloud provider, such as security controls, privacy impact, and performance as per the ISO 17789. So definitely, this standard is quite important in CCSP exam. And when I say ISO 17789, which is called as a 2014, this standard specifies the cloud computing reference architecture, which is called as a CCRA, Cloud Computing Reference Architecture. And this reference architecture include the cloud computing roles, cloud computing activities, and cloud computing functional component. And their relationship. So this standard talk about the roles, the different kind of roles, the different kind of activities, and most important is functional component. So in this question, we are talking about who evaluates the services provided by the cloud provider. And what we're trying to evaluate here: security control, privacy impact, and performance. So what are the options? Cloud auditor, cloud consumer, cloud service partner, and cloud architect. Now, if I go by the cloud architect, he is more into building solution, and it is a common role on the cloud consumer side also and cloud provider side also. But the question has a keyword called evaluate. Cloud service partner is one of the role we have as per the ISO 17789, which all about managing the services. Cloud consumer is the one who consume the services. So we left with the word called auditor because keyword is auditor and evaluate. So if you go by the elimination, auditor is the one who evaluate all the controls, and this role is commonly there on the consumer side also and the provider side, whereas the architect, service partner, and consumer is a one part of the roles and responsibility. So answer is cloud auditor. Second, so as per the ISO IC 17789, we have three roles. We have a cloud service partner, we have a cloud service customer, and we have a cloud service provider. The provider is the one who providing a services, and customer is the one who taking that services, and partner is basically the one who manage everything, and cloud auditor is a part of the cloud service partner. Cloud auditor is a part of the cloud service partner. So for more information, you can refer the ISO IC 17789 because each and every role has a sub roles, and those sub roles are testable in the exam, which you won't find in any book. This is basically my cloud service provider. So we agreed that this will be my cloud service agreement, CSA. So whatever we have agreed in the CSA, as per that, CSP should offer the services to the cloud service consumer, and cloud service consumer obtain the services from the cloud service provider. So there is a one role on the cloud service provider which is called as a cloud service operational roles. So we have a different kind of an operation roles there. So there are some department in the cloud service provider which ensure they provide the service as per the CSA, because if they fail to provide the service as per the CSA, then they have to pay back the penalty cost. So we have four options here: cloud service operation manager, cloud service deployment manager, cloud service business manager, and cloud inter-cloud provider. Now, when I say cloud service deployment manager, he is the one who deploy the solution which consumed by the cloud service consumer. But the question talking about performing all operational process, it means day-to-day activities. And second keyword here is to meet the operational target, which is the operational function. Cloud service business manager is basically talk about the business aspects. Inter-cloud provider is more like a broker which ensure that you can able to communicate between the two cloud provider. So what is left is, answer is A, cloud service operational manager. See, Cloud Service Operation Manager is a sub-role of the CSP, Cloud Service Provider. Remember in the first question we discussed about 3 roles. So this is basically belong to the subcategory of the Cloud Service Provider side role. Now he is the one who responsible for performing all the operational processes. That is the one thing. And all the procedure, and he also ensure that all services and associate infrastructure meet the operational target, whatever we have agreed with the customer. Along with that, he does several other functions. The first thing is that he prepared the systems. He prepares systems. Second is he monitor and administer the services. Third thing, he manage assets. And 4 important thing, provide audit data on the request of the customer. Provide audit data. So these are the key roles we have. Once the deployment manager deploy the solution, overall taking care of the solution is lies with the cloud service operation manager, and he ensure that okay, CSP able to offer the services to the cloud service consumer as per CSA. That's why we basically went with the answer called A. Coffee shot 4. Who set up the legal agreement activity concern the service agreement between the cloud service customer and chosen cloud service provider? Option A, cloud reseller. It is the question talking about who take care of the legal aspects and handling the relations between the cloud service customer and cloud service provider. Okay. Cloud reseller, cloud broker, cloud provider, and cloud service business manager. Definitely cloud service business manager is a part of the cloud service provider. So automatically it is removed because question itself talking about the CSC and CSP. So we have a CSP and CSE. Cloud reseller is a part of a CSC. So that is also removed. So we have a third dedicated solution which is called as a broker. We have a broker. So cloud service. So we have a cloud consumer. We have a cloud consumer here. So he take the services from the broker. Broker take the services from the multiple cloud providers. It has a several function: intermediate, aggregate, arbitrage. We have a 3 different type of function under the broker. I used to cover in my CCSP session. So I don't have a time here to discuss all this because it will extend the time. So broker is the one which agreed with the cloud consumer, and on behalf of all these provider, he can able to provide the solution to cloud customers. So now having an agreement with the broker, he don't need to concern about what kind of a service is coming from the cloud service consumer, because broker is the one who integrate all the solution, providing me a unified interface, and that interface I will able to access to the cloud consumer. Apiro is there. If you talk about the security point of view, then we have a several CASB solution which is work on the broker side. So we have a tie-up with the broker, and broker will take care of all the agreements and everything. So that's why the answer here is cloud broker. Second is, which standards serve as a collection of a design guidance and design pattern? Keyword here is guidance and design pattern. Talking about design and design. To support the structure approach to deploy service and application in the cloud. So we have a standard called ISO 17789. ISO 17798, ISO 17778, and ISO 17777. So definitely we have discussed that point already. Answer is ISO 17789, which basically giving me a visibility about the kind of a roles and what kind of a functions we need to building a cloud architecture. That's why the answer is ISO 17789. Next is, which of the following is not one of the 4 distinct functional layer defined in the ISO 17789? Let me first explain what is functional layer. See, functional architecture of a cloud computing describe cloud computing in terms of a high level of functional component. This functional component represent the set of functions that require to perform the cloud computing activities. And they basically have a framework which specify the type of functions, and they group into the each layer where the interface between the functional component has been defined. So that's why in the functional layer, we have a different kind of a layers. Option A, user layer. Option B, access layer. Option C, service layer. And option D, management layer. Question talking about which of the following is not one of that. That's why the answer is management layer, because as per the ISO 17789, we have a 4 layers: user layer, access layer, service layer, and resource layer. So this is the functional architecture of a cloud. Okay. Next is called as a in which service model admin control of application align with the cloud consumer. So a question talking about admin control of an application. Definitely there's nothing called as a DAS removed. In a IaaS we have a complete visibility that is removed. In a SaaS, vendor providing me application, so I don't have admin control, so we're left with the PaaS. Because in a platform as a services, we get we develop our application and we have a complete admin control over the application. But in the SaaS, we get an application from a vendor where we don't have a admin visibility. That's why the answer is PaaS. Service management and CDN services. If you refer the NIST document of a cloud computing, you will find the different kind of a services come under the different service model, and it is quite testable in the exam. So here it's saying service management and CDN service belong to which service model? We need CDN highly in that case where we require the high configuration systems. So we have 4 options here: infrastructure services, PaaS as services, SaaS and DaaS. See, PaaS is a platform. Okay, SaaS is an application provided by the customer. There's nothing called as a DaaS. I want CDN in the case where I'm trying to access my instances. So I prefer the answer will be IaaS. Yes, if you refer the NIST document, you can find the CDN and service management under the IaaS services only. Because when you try to access the instances must be available whenever it required without any kind of a latency issues. And that is when you're creating a machines and all that, they ask you about the availability zones and all that. If you select the nearest availability zone and from there when you try to access the instance, it will be able to you able to access the instance without any kind of a delay. So we prefer the CDN service must be there from a provider side for the IaaS solutions. That's why the service management and CDN service belong to the service model of infrastructure as a services. The next part is called as a PRUB, is a cloud security consultant for an organization. His organization wishes to migrate its on-prem infrastructure to cloud services. It means the question talking about here, I am a security consultant or I am a cloud security consultant. I am planning to migrate my on-prem to cloud. But they still want to hold the data governance risk management. First of all, from an exam point of view, data governance and risk management in all the cases is responsibility of the cloud customer. Okay, but here, they still want to hold the data governance and risk management visibility. Keyword is visibility. Which will be the ideal cloud service model they wish to opt for? Option A, IaaS, option B, PaaS, option C, SaaS, and option D, IDaaS. See, in IDaaS, there's nothing called as IDaaS. In a SaaS, you will get an application from the vendor where you don't have a visibility about how they're going to organize the data. In a PaaS, you still not have a visibility of infrastructure. At least in the IaaS, you have a more flexibility and scalability. You can create a machine as per your requirement. That is why I'm going with the answer infrastructure as a services. Next is called as in a cloud environment, who determine which server has a capacity and allocate an instance of the requested size. So we have 4 options here: cloud controller, storage controller, virtual machine monitor, and network controller. Question talking about in a cloud environment, who determine which server has a capacity. As you know that, okay, the backend of the provider running the multiple hardware. On top of it, they have a hypervisor and through the controller, they allocate the machines. The question talking about who determines. So option A, cloud controller, option B, storage controller, option C, virtual machine monitor, and option D, network controller. See, storage controller is only taking care of the storage part. So I want to eliminate this because question talking about instances. Instance come with the storage, but only with the help of storage controller, you can't allocate the instances. Virtual machine monitor used for the log, so that is removed. Network controller always map with the network information. So storage controller, network controller is a part of the cloud controller. That's why I want to go with the cloud controller. Because the controller that create a virtual hard drive by requesting the storage from the storage controller, which allocate the storage from a storage pool, connect to the appropriate host server and instances. And all these are mapping is done through the cloud controller function. So cloud controller is the one who ensure the network parameter and storage controller along with the instances to the defined user. So cloud controller is the one which help us to launch the instance for the customer. That's why the answer is 1. Next is which characteristic of a cloud service offer the set of monitoring, preventative and responsiveness processes that enable the cloud services to provide the continuous operation or predictable and verifiable outages through a failure and the recovery actions. I repeat again the question talking about the cloud service category which is enabled to continue the operation in the case of outage, okay, and continue the services without any downtime. So what is the name of the characteristics of the cloud computing? So option A, resiliency, option B, reversibility, option C, security, and option D, availability. See, if you go by the availability, availability is a property of being accessible and usable upon the demand by the authorized entity. Security is all about the associate of the CIA. But the question has a keyword called continuous operation, predictable, and the word is outage. That's why the answer is resiliency. So we have a pool of architecture, we have a pool of server which can able to absorb all the requests without any kind of a downtime. Even for the BCDR in a cloud environment, it is always a preferable choice. The cloud provider should have a capability of the resiliency of the services. It means they can able to adapt the services without any downtime. Okay. Reversibility is all about, a process for a cloud service customer to retrieve their cloud service customer data. It is ideally used in the case of GDPR. So any question talking about GDPR, any question talking about right to forgotten, from that point of view, you looking for some necessary characteristics in the cloud computing, then answer is reversibility. Because in the reversibility, you can able to retrieve the deleted data as per the GDPR compliance. But when a question talking about maintaining the services continuous operation without any kind of a downtime, we are looking for the resiliency in the cloud service category. Next is, which is the standard used to certify and define the validation of a cryptography module in a cloud environment? NIC 837 is a standard for the best practices for the information security management. PCI DSS is used for the payment card. ISO 27000 talking about the overall information security. So what is left is FIPS 1402 standard. Now, next is subject role matrix. In the IAS, if you can see here, cloud consumer has no control. He can make a request to hypervisor, which basically has a cloud controller function. What control cloud customer has is guest operating system, middleware, application. So cloud provider has a capability to deploy the patches on the hypervisor, where cloud consumer does not have a capability to patch the hypervisor. In the case of PaaS, hardware and operating system has no control with the cloud consumer, whereas the program what he developed and admin control of the program lies with the cloud consumer, where the cloud provider has no control. And in the SaaS, you can notice hardware, operating system, and Java. Has no control with the cloud consumer. Application provided by the cloud provider, but it comes with a very limited functionality, because in a SaaS environment, it is developed by the vendor. So this is all from my side. I will try to make some more videos on domain 2 and domain 3. And please keep watch my playlist of CCSP, where I have covered domain 1 to domain 6. Which can give you kind of a high level understanding of what need to be prepared from a CCSP exam point of view. Do subscribe my YouTube channel to get more updates about the new videos. Thank you team. Bye.